What up, y'all? You're listening to Sports Talk with Tropp, and I'm your host, Katie Tropp. Well, one team has already moved on to the conference finals, the Eastern Conference Finals to be specific. That would be the New York Knicks. They actually did it in shocking fashion. So let's just start off with that series, because the other series are actually, well, two of them are close. One is probably going to end tonight. So let's get into the first one between the New York Knicks and the Philadelphia 76ers. As I just stated, the New York Knicks trucked over the Philadelphia 76ers. I mean, not one of these games was close, most specifically, especially in these last two games. Game 3, the Knicks got the win, 108-94. Brunson had 33 points and 9 assists. Bridges had 23 points. But the big game, that was Game 4, and it kind of felt like the 76ers were not aware that they were in a playoff game because they ended up losing the game 144-114. Yeah, I'll say that again. The final score was New York Knicks 144 to Philadelphia 76ers 114. They smashed them that bad. As a matter of fact, they smashed them so hard that the Knicks tied a three-point playoff record with 25 three-pointers made. So it was just crushing. I mean, like I said, not one of these games was close. And the Knicks just trucked right through them. They couldn't miss. They were just getting everything headed their way. And now they are headed to the Eastern Conference Finals. And they're just going to sit pretty because the other matchup between the Cavaliers and the Pistons right now, that's it's not tied, but it's definitely not going to be a sweep. So the Knicks can just kind of sit pretty and just wait and see what happens for the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, I will say, the Knicks have been very streaky this season. So good for them that they completely demolished the 76ers as they should have. But we'll see what happens in the next round, depending on who they face. But I wouldn't be getting my hopes up, my championship hopes up yet if I'm a Knicks fan, just because you got to let them play each round. But they did win convincingly over the Philadelphia 76ers. Then the next matchup we had was between the San Antonio Spurs and the Minnesota Timberwolves. This has actually been a testy matchup. So Game 3, the Spurs got the win 115-108. This was heavily dominated by the Spurs. The Timberwolves kept it pretty close. But, I mean, the Spurs just had the lead the whole way from start to finish. And Wembanyama just dominated this game, 39 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 blocks. But it was a battle between him and Anthony Edwards. Because as soon as Wemby would score, Anthony Edwards would get the ball back, and he would just head right back down the court and score. And he ended up with 32 points, 14 rebounds, and 6 assists. So as you could see, both of these guys were just dueling it out. But Wemby got the win in the end because his team is slightly better than the Timberwolves. But the thing about the Timberwolves is they've been to the Western Conference Finals twice. They didn't go last year, but they went the 2 years before that. So this is a team that's pretty good during the playoffs. So Game 4, they did end up getting the win 114-109. They definitely lucked out in a way because Victor Wembanyama was ejected in this game because he smashed a dude in the face with his elbow, and it was a flagrant 2. It was an obvious flagrant 2. I mean, when you break down the rule, you could tell that the officials were trying any which way to try and make it so they could not kick him out of this game when they were looking at the replay. But obviously they had to kick him out of this game because if one of these nobody guys on the bench did the exact same thing that Wemby did, they would get kicked out. So you have to treat Wemby the same way you treat everybody. So Victor Wembanyama, he was ejected, I think it was the first quarter or second quarter. It was right off the bat. It was real quick. And it was kind of funny too because basically the Wolves got what they wanted out of that because the reason why Wemby was throwing his elbows is because he was pissed off he didn't get a foul call earlier in the game because he got smashed in the face and the refs didn't call it. I get it, but that's part of the game, and that's what they did. They frustrated him so much that he got himself kicked out of this game. Now, even so, the Spurs, they were dominating, especially the third quarter. It kind of looked like they were about to win this one again, but then Anthony Edwards took over the fourth quarter, and they just started to creep away, started to get the rebounds that they needed to get, and then the Spurs their shots weren't knocking down as they were in the third quarter, and Anthony Edwards ended up with 36 points total, but the Timberwolves ended up with the win, 114-109, and this series is all tied up at 2. So this is an actual series. Like I said, the Wolves probably got lucky in this last one with no Wemby, but at the same time, There were points in this game where it was looking like the Spurs actually could have easily won this game, especially that third quarter run that they went on. Game 5 is going to be Tuesday night, and we'll see what happens here because it's definitely all tied up. So we've still got a couple more games to go in this series. Then we had the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Detroit Pistons. They played Game 3 over the weekend, and the Cavaliers finally got a win, 116-109. It didn't look like they wanted the win, though, but they definitely hung on to this one. Mitchell had 35 points and 10 rebounds. Cade Cunningham had 27 points and 10 rebounds and 10 assists. He really did not want to lose this game. He kept the Pistons in it the whole way. It seemed like for a minute there, the Pistons were going to get their asses beat, and then Cade was like, nah, dude, I got to step this up. He stepped it up, especially in the second half, and they really started to linger, and it just kind of feels like they fell too far deep in a pit, and they just weren't able to get out of it, and especially because Cade was pretty much the only dude on the Pistons in that game really stepping it up. But the Cavaliers did get the win, and they finally were able to make it a series. Game 4 is tonight, and the Detroit Pistons are up 2-1 in that series. And then another terrible series between the Oklahoma City Thunder and my Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers got smashed in Game 3, 131-108. This game was actually so bad. It was so typical Lakers, as they are against the Oklahoma City Thunder. They keep it kind of close in the first half, and then the third quarter hits, and it's like they don't even realize that there's a game going on. And then Oklahoma City just runs away with it, and actually this last game, when it was the third quarter and I could just see how it was going, I was like, I'm just not even going to finish the rest of this game. And guess what? I woke up in the morning, I was like, let me see how the Lakers lost this one. And I wake up and it's like, oh, gee, they lost. What a shock. I'm glad I didn't stay up for that one. But they lost 131-108. That's how bad that one was. SGA had 23 points, 9 assists. Mitchell had 24 points, 10 assists. Chet Holmgren had 18 points, 9 rebounds. And it was just another all-around dominating performance by the Thunder. SGA didn't even really need to show out in this one. It was really just the rest of the team playing a really solid game, and they really just ran away with it, especially in the second half. And they can actually sweep the Lakers Monday night. And wouldn't be shocked if they do, just because you know, the Lakers have had their moments in this series, but the second half hits, and it's like they don't even realize that there's a game going on. The turnovers are terrible. They don't set up plays. They're just chucking up threes like there's no tomorrow, and it's like these are the defending champs. You need to actually play a legitimate game here, and they just are not looking good. And when I say they, I mean literally the entire team. Even though LeBron's had a fantastic playoff run and really a fantastic season for a 41-year-old, they are not playing well against Oklahoma City, and they are almost about to get swept, and I will not be shocked if they get swept tonight because they have not played one good game at all in this entire series, and I don't expect them to do it tonight because, as a matter of fact, they haven't even played well against the Oklahoma City Thunder in one game this entire season. They got swept by them in the regular season. I guess we want to get swept by them in the postseason, but really, I kind of feel like even if we win tonight's game, the next game's going to be a loss. So who knows? Not a lot of faith over here just because Oklahoma City is just that much better than the Lakers. All right, so moving on to the Tropp 10 MLB Power Rankings for this week. And we do have us a new number one, slightly. They're trucking through, so I had to put a new number one. But we've got a couple of teams falling, and not a lot of American League teams, I'm going to tell you in this. As a matter of fact, I mean, look, I think there's only two. Yes, there are only two American League teams this week because, man, when I was looking over the recent records and just how everybody in the American League is playing, not a lot of good is coming from the American League. But the National League Central specifically, spoiler alert, 4 of the 5 teams are in my Tropp 10 this week because that's how well they are all playing. So let's get right into it. Our new number one this week is the Chicago Cubs. Overall record of 27-14. They are 8-2 in their last 10 games. This past week, they swept the Cincinnati Reds and then finally lost to the Texas Rangers. They actually lost 2 games in a row off of their 10-game winning streak that they had. As a matter of fact, that was their second 10-game winning streak of the season, which is why I had to put them above the Braves. You know, the Braves are playing well, and I do think they're the better team. But I mean, Chicago's on a heater, and it's their second 10-game winning streak on the season, and they just they've been winning in every way, too. They've been winning close games. They've been kicking people's ass. They've been winning in walk-offs. They had, 3 walk-offs last week, so they're just getting it done in every single way. Michael Busch seems to have found his stride again. You know, he had a phenomenal year last year and really has been quiet for the most part, but these last couple of weeks, he's really turned it on and even had a couple of walk-offs himself. But the starting pitching's been solid. The relief pitching's been amazing. They've been getting great offensive production from every single guy with a bat on the roster. And defensively, they play fantastic as well. And like I said, I had to put them at number 1 simply because this is their second 10-game winning streak of the season. And that says a lot because no other team has done that this season, but they have. And they are the hottest team right now in the league, and got to give them their props while they're there. Then at number 2 in my top 10 MLB Power Rankings, the Atlanta Braves, overall record of 28-13. They're 6-4 in their last 10 games. This past week, they lost the series to the Seattle Mariners, but then took the series over the Dodgers. And like I said, really the only reason why I had them fall back against the Cubs is because the Cubs are having the better couple of weeks as opposed to the Braves. And I mean, that's really the only difference between the two teams when they're that close in record and playing that good of baseball. The only difference is winning streaks like that. So that's all I could really do to knock down the Braves. But overall, the Braves are still playing excellent baseball. I mean, Drake Baldwin, this guy has not cooled off at all this season. He's batting a .297 with 10 home runs, 32 RBI. And then Matt Olson, he's having a phenomenal year as well, batting .296, 14 home runs, 36 RBI. And this Braves team, it's just like they pass every test. Like I said, they just took down the Dodgers and kicked their ass, too. It wasn't even really a close series. But they've just been on fire and just getting great production from so many different guys on this team that even though Acuna is injured right now, it doesn't matter. Acuna has actually had a very ice cold season to start it from his resume. You know, past seasons of him, he's usually kicking ass, but this year he's been cold. But everybody else around him on the Braves is playing excellent baseball right now. Then at number 3 on my top 10 MLB Power Rankings, another hot team, and one of the only couple of American League teams we have on the top 10 this week, and that is the Tampa Bay Rays. Overall record of 26-13, and they are 8-2 in their last 10 games. This past week, they took the series over the Toronto Blue Jays and took the series over the Boston Red Sox. And like I said, I never thought I'd still be talking about the Rays. I didn't think they'd be one of the only 2 American League teams we're talking about this week, but they are playing excellent baseball. And it's not really shocking because this is a team that's always known to kind of find these really solid starting pitchers, and that's really what's been carrying them. I mean, they've been getting a lot of offensive production as well, but their starting pitching has just been lights out. They've got Nick Martinez, who's been having a phenomenal year with 4 wins, 170 ERA, and 31 strikeouts on the season. And I already was talking about McClanahan a couple weeks ago, and here he is, still strong as ever, still having a phenomenal year. He's got 4 wins on the season with 34 strikeouts. And then they've got another starting pitcher who's having a great year, Steven Matz. He's got 4 wins on the year as well. So they're just getting a lot of production from the starting pitching. Their bullpen really isn't falling apart. And then they're just getting offense from a whole bunch of different guys when they need it the most. And then, of course, defensively, they are top notch when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. So the Tampa Bay Rays, not only one of the few American League teams on my top 10 this week, but shockingly the best in the American League, and didn't think I'd be talking about them still this late in the season. Then at number 4 on my top 10 MLB Power Rankings of the New York Yankees, the overall record of 26-15. They're 6-4 in their last 10 games. This past week, they took the series over the Texas Rangers, but got swept by the Milwaukee Brewers. But they just got Rodon back this week. He did get blown up, but I mean, come on, he's just coming back from injury. I expect him to find his stride again. But somebody who has found their stride is Cam Schlittler. This guy has been money every time he's come out to pitch. He's got 5 wins on the season with a 1.35 ERA and 59 strikeouts. So you cannot score on this dude. That's just straight up. And then, of course, offensively, Aaron Judge, 16 home runs, 30 RBI on the season. Rice, 14 home runs. And then you got Bellinger, who's just on a heater right now as well. So this Yankees team playing very well. And like I said, those are the only 2 American League teams we're going to talk about are the Rays and the Yankees, because everybody else in the American League is pretty shaky right now. Then at number 5 on my top 10 MLB Power Rankings are the Milwaukee Brewers. Overall record of 22-16. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games. This past week, they split the series with the St. Louis Cardinals and then swept the series over the New York Yankees. And this is just a team that's getting it done in every way, shape, and form as well. You got Bryce Turang, who's having an amazing year, Contreras and Bowers. And then you've got some pitchers, young pitchers, Ashby and Mizorowski, who are just pitching out of their mind right now. Ashby has 7 wins on the season. So this is a very quiet Brewers team that I really wasn't paying attention to up until the last couple of weeks, and now they're kind of a team where you can't really look away, and they're beating good teams, and they're getting a lot of production from a lot of different guys on their team, and I had to put them on the list. Then at number 6 on my top 10 MLB Power Rankings are the St. Louis Cardinals. Overall record of 23-17. They're 6-4 in their last 10 games. This past week, they split the series with the Milwaukee Brewers and then also split the series with the San Diego Padres. And their pitching, it's really good. I mean, I was not expecting a damn thing from this Cardinals team at all this season, but I really wasn't expecting anything from their pitching. And their pitching is either really young guys that you've never heard of, or old journeymen who have just been around for a while and they're just getting it done. You've got Dustin May having a great year, Palante, McGreevy, Leahy. They are just, it kind of feels like every time they come out to pitch, it's really difficult to score on them. And then even if you are able to score on them, they are able to come right back because they've got a lot of guys who could score as well. And they're playing excellent on the defensive side of the ball as well. So the St. Louis Cardinals team has not cooled off at all. And this is a team you don't really want to see once the postseason hits, because the Cardinals are just historically one of the best teams in baseball when it comes to the postseason. And so you really don't want this team to spend the regular season figuring out this roster and figuring out which guys are the better guys and just getting better as the season wears on, because I kind of feel like that's what's going to happen with the Cardinals here, is that they're going to just keep building and keep building, and then we're going to see them in the playoffs, and all of a sudden we're going to be like, how did they end up in the NLCS? That's kind of how I feel about them, at least right now. Then at number 7 on my top 10 MLB Power Rankings, another National League Central team, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Overall record of 22-19. They are 6-4 in their last 10 games. This past week, they took the series over the Arizona Diamondbacks, but lost a series to my San Francisco Giants, barely. Kind of pathetic series, but my Giants are kind of pathetic this year. But anyways, we're talking about the Pirates. But the Pirates are another team. I did not have any expectations for them at all because I really didn't know what was going to happen with this team. They're just that team that ends up having some good players here and there, and then they just end up trading them away, and there they are. But this year, Schemes, he's got 5 wins on the season, a 2.36 ERA and 46 strikeouts, so he's doing what he normally does. But you got O'Neal Cruz, who just has busted out, and he has just not stopped. He's got 10 home runs on the season and 29 RBI. He actually was a huge factor in yesterday's game because it was a back-and-forth affair between the Giants and the Pirates. It was like one team would score, the next team would score. It went into extra innings. I think it ended in 11 or 12. But either way, Cruz was a big deal yesterday, and one of the home runs he hit was out of the park, and it was like, whoa, damn. But they know how to get on base. They play small ball great, and they are just playing, like I continue to say about the Pirates, I can't believe we're still talking about the Pirates, and it's May. Then at number 8 on my top 10 MLB Power Rankings of the San Diego Padres. Overall record of 24-16. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games. This past week, they took the series over the San Francisco Giants and then split the series with the St. Louis Cardinals. And they've kind of had their up and down moments, but they had a huge game against the Cardinals. I believe it was yesterday. It was sometime over the weekend, but I'm pretty sure it was yesterday's game. Where Machado and Castellanos, they just were on some. And Machado has actually been having a fantastic year. As he normally does, but I just don't think we talk about him as much anymore. It's just because he's with San Diego, and they just don't usually show out, like other teams do. But they've been playing great this year. They've had their ups and downs, and they're still putting it together. I mean, it's kind of odd that Fernando Tatis still not one home run on the season. Kind of a down year for him, but everybody else on this team, the pitching's been fantastic. They still have some guys who have to come back on the injured list, but slumping a tiny bit right now. Then at number 9 on my top 10 MLB Power Rankings of the Los Angeles Dodgers, overall record of 24-16. They are 4-6 in their last 10 games. This past week, they took the series over the Houston Astros, and then lost the series to the Atlanta Braves. And just with them, even though they're not playing great right now, they still, they kicked the crap out of the Astros. The Braves are just... The Braves are healthy. The Braves are playing great baseball. And it's kind of the opposite with the Dodgers. They are not that healthy. As a matter of fact, Glasnow was put on the injured list this week, and he's been pitching fantastic this year. But it looks like they are going to get Mookie Betts back tonight, I believe. And then they got Blake Snell back over the weekend. So it's just like they lose a guy, they get a couple guys back. So that's kind of how the Dodgers do. And even though they keep tumbling every week, it's like they're still there. I still have to show them respect. I still have to rank them. Unless they go on some terrible losing streak, and there's other teams I feel I need to go put above them. But like I said, especially the 10th spot on the power rankings this week, it was actually kind of difficult to choose because there's just a lot of teams not playing great baseball. And so that's why the Dodgers are still there, because roster power is still there. Shohei Ohtani's pitching out of his mind, not having a great year offensively, but he's still having a solid year offensively. He's having a down year for Ohtani. But overall, the Dodgers are still a good team. It's just they're not playing that well right now. And then rounding out the top 10 MLB Power Rankings this week, like I said, it was actually really difficult to choose. But this team, shockingly, is playing very well, especially after they fired their manager a couple of weeks ago. And that's the Philadelphia Phillies. Overall record of 19-22. They are 7-3 in their last 10 games. This past week, they took the series over the A's and the Colorado Rockies. And Kyle Schwarber, he had 2 home runs yesterday in the game to bring his season total up to 16 home runs and 27 RBIs. So Kyle Schwarber continues to do what Kyle Schwarber continues to do. But Bryce Harper, he is getting hot as well. He's batting at .281 with 10 home run and 24 RBI. And him and Schwarber just lit up the Rockies yesterday. And then they're getting some great pitching out of Christopher Sanchez, who's got 4 wins on the season, a 2.11 ERA, and 67 strikeouts on the year. So it's kind of crazy. The Phillies did fire their manager. Now, the manager that they hired behind him is Don Mattingly, who's been around baseball for a million years, not only playing the game, but also as a manager. What is this? I think this is his 3rd, 4th team now as the manager. So I guess it's, you fire your dude, and it's like you got Mattingly right there. So you might as well throw him in. And it's not shocking that this team is able to rally behind Mattingly, because he spent his whole life playing baseball. He spent his whole life around baseball. So, of course, he's going to be able to turn a team around. And it's actually not quite shocking that he's done this. But this Phillies team, they were terrible before they fired their manager. And then they fired their manager. They go on a winning streak, and now here they are. They're playing some really solid baseball. And it's kind of funny because that's actually what happened to them the last time they fired their manager. They fired their manager, and then they went on that big-ass playoff run. And didn't they go to the World Series that year? I'm pretty sure that's what happened the last time they fired their managers. They lost the World Series, but they ended up going on a nice run and ended up going to the World Series. Not saying that's going to happen this year, but who knows what's going to happen with this team. But they are on a nice little winning streak here. And like I said, when I was looking over the rest of the teams, I'm looking at the American League, trying to shove any team I can in here. And I'm like, man, they are all just on bad losing streaks or just at 500 and then not playing good baseball. And so I was like, I got to just throw the Phillies in there, even though there's still a lot of questions about them. They're playing pretty solid baseball right now and have had quite the turnaround since they fired the manager a couple weeks ago. All right, y'all, enjoy the week of sports, and I will talk to you fools on Friday.